One right person can change your whole point of view. There are moments in life when everything feels fixed, rigid, and unchangeable. Our beliefs, our pain, our fears, and even the way we see the world. We assume that this is how life is meant to be, that our experiences have permanently shaped our thinking, and that no one can really understand us or alter the lens through which we view reality. But then, sometimes quietly and sometimes dramatically, one right person enters our life and changes everything. Not by force, not by preaching, and not by trying to fix us, but simply by being who they are. This one person can change your whole point of view. Not because they have all the answers, but because their presence unlocks questions you never thought to ask, and truths you were never ready to see before. The right person doesn't necessarily arrive when life is easy. Often, they come when you are tired, broken, or deeply disappointed. You may have been hurt by people before, betrayed by promises, or let down by situations that once filled you with hope. Your heart may have learned to stay guarded, your mind trained to expect the worst, and your soul accustomed to surviving rather than living. In such a state, you don't believe in change anymore. You believe in patterns, bad ones. You believe that people always leave, intentions are never pure, and happiness is temporary. Then one right person shows up and gently challenges all these conclusions without ever arguing with you. What makes the right person so powerful is not perfection, but authenticity. They don't pretend to be flawless or superior. They have their own scars, their own struggles, and their own moments of weakness. Yet, the way they see life, the way they respond to pain, and the way they treat others feels different. Through their actions, you begin to realize that your past experiences were not universal truths. You start understanding that the world is not as cruel as you thought. It was just that you encountered cruelty too often. The right person doesn't erase your past, but they reframe it. They help you see that what happened to you was not your destiny, just a chapter. Sometimes this person changes your point of view simply by listening, truly listening. Not waiting for their turn to speak, not judging, not minimizing your pain, just listening with patience and respect. For someone who has felt unheard their entire life, this alone can be life-changing. When someone listens to you, you begin to listen to yourself. You start recognizing emotions you buried long ago. You realize that your feelings were valid, your reactions understandable, and your journey meaningful. This kind of understanding can shift how you view yourself. And when your view of yourself changes, your view of the world follows. The right person also teaches you that love doesn't always have to hurt. If you have known love only as sacrifice, fear, or loss, you may believe that pain is a requirement for connection. But the right person shows you a different model. They show you that love can be calm, supportive, and safe. That disagreements don't have to turn into wars, and differences don't have to create distance. Through them, you learn that love can be a place of rest, not a battlefield. This realization alone can completely transform how you approach relationships, boundaries, and even self-worth. One of the most profound changes the right person brings is in how you see yourself. Before them, you might have defined yourself by your failures, your mistakes, or the labels others placed on you. You might have believed you were too much, not enough, or simply unworthy of good things. The right person doesn't necessarily tell you otherwise with words. They show you through consistency. They respect your boundaries, value your presence, and appreciate your uniqueness. Over time, their treatment of you becomes a mirror, reflecting a version of yourself you never acknowledged. Slowly, you begin to see that you were never broken, just misunderstood. This shift in self-perception has a ripple effect. When you start valuing yourself, you stop tolerating what drains you. You become more mindful of where you invest your energy, who you allow into your life, and what you accept as normal. The right person doesn't control your decisions. They empower you to make better ones. They inspire growth not by pressure, but by example. Watching them handle life with integrity, resilience, or kindness encourages you to do the same. Without realizing it, you begin evolving, not into someone else, but into a fuller version of yourself. The right person can also change your point of view about pain and struggle. Where you once saw hardship as punishment or proof of failure, you begin to see it as a teacher. Conversations with them may open your eyes to perspectives you never considered. That every challenge carries a lesson, every delay has a purpose, and every ending makes space for a new beginning. This doesn't make pain disappear, but it gives it meaning. And meaning has the power to heal in ways comfort never can. It's important to understand that the right person is not always a romantic partner. Sometimes they are a friend, a mentor, a stranger you meet briefly, or even someone who comes into your life for a short season. Their role is not defined by duration, but by impact. Even a single conversation with the right person can alter the course of your thinking forever. They might say something simple, but it resonates deeply because it aligns with a truth your soul was already searching for. Long after they are gone, their words echo in your mind, guiding you in moments of doubt. The right person often helps you unlearn what no longer serves you. They challenge limiting beliefs you didn't even know you had. Beliefs like, I'm not capable, I don't deserve happiness, or this is just how life is. Through gentle questioning or lived example, they show you alternatives. They show you that life can be bigger, kinder, and more meaningful than the box you confined it to. This process of unlearning can be uncomfortable because it requires letting go of familiar pain. But it is also liberating because it opens the door to possibility. Another powerful way the right person changes your point of view is by reminding you of hope. Not false hope or blind optimism, but grounded, realistic hope. The kind that acknowledges difficulty while still believing in better days. When you see someone who has survived their own storms and still chooses faith, kindness, or courage, it reignites something within you. You begin to believe that healing is possible, that joy can return, and that your story is far from over. Hope reshapes how you approach the future. From fear to curiosity, from resistance to openness. Over time, you may realize that the right person didn't actually change the world around you. They changed the way you see it. The same circumstances, the same challenges, the same uncertainties may still exist, but your response to them is different now. You are more patient, more aware, and more compassionate towards others and towards yourself. You no longer see life as something happening to you, but something unfolding for you. This shift in perspective is subtle, yet profound, and it is often the greatest gift the right person leaves behind. In the end, one right person can change your whole point of view because they awaken something that was already within you. They don't give you a new soul, they help you reconnect with your own. They don't hand you a new life, they help you see the value of the one you already have. Their presence becomes a turning point, a before and after moment in your journey. And even if paths diverge, the change remains. Because once your point of view expands, it never fully shrinks again. That is the quiet power of one right person. They don't need to stay forever to make a permanent difference. They just need to arrive at the right time, with the right energy and the right intention. And when they do, they remind you of a truth that changes everything. Life is not just about what happens to you, but about how deeply you learn to see. When the right person enters your life, they don't announce their importance. They don't come with signs or warnings. At first, they may seem ordinary, even familiar. But slowly, you begin to notice something different. How conversations with them feel lighter. How silence around them feels safe. How your mind opens instead of closing. You realize that around this person, you don't have to perform or pretend. You can exist as you are. And that freedom alone starts reshaping your inner world. Before meeting the right person, you may have believed that survival is the same as living. You may have mastered coping mechanisms, emotional walls, distractions, numbness, or constant busyness to protect yourself from disappointment. The right person gently exposes these defenses, not by attacking them, but by making them unnecessary. Their consistency teaches you that not everyone is temporary. Their honesty shows you that truth doesn't always destroy. It can heal. Through them, you learn that peace doesn't come from control, but from trust. One of the most subtle yet powerful shifts happens in the way you interpret people. Earlier, you may have judged intentions quickly, assuming harm before understanding. This wasn't cruelty, it was self-protection. But the right person helps soften this instinct. They show you that kindness exists without conditions, that respect doesn't always demand something in return. As your trust in one person grows, it slowly extends outward. You begin giving the world a second chance, not because it deserves it, but because you deserve freedom from constant fear. The right person also changes how you see time. Where you once felt rushed, afraid of falling behind, afraid of missing out, they teach you patience. Through them, you realize that life is not a race, but a rhythm. Everyone moves at a different pace, and that's okay. They help you understand that delays are not denials, and slow growth is still growth. This shift brings calm into your decisions. You stop forcing outcomes and start allowing things to unfold naturally. Another transformation occurs in how you relate to pain. Earlier, pain may have felt like an enemy, something to avoid, suppress, or escape. But the right person doesn't run from pain. They talk about it with maturity and depth. Watching them, you learn that pain is not weakness, and vulnerability is not failure. You begin to see emotional honesty as strength. This realization frees you from shame and allows healing to begin at a deeper level. The right person often helps you reconnect with meaning. In moments when life felt empty or repetitive, they ask questions that matter. They talk about purpose, values, faith, dreams, and growth, not in a dramatic way, but in a grounded, sincere manner. These conversations awaken parts of you that had gone quiet. You start reflecting on what truly matters, rather than what merely looks good on the surface. Slowly, your priorities shift, and so does your definition of success. What's remarkable is that the right person doesn't try to change you. They don't say, you should be different. Instead, they say, you are enough, and you can still grow. This balance of acceptance and encouragement is rare. It creates a safe space where transformation happens naturally. You become curious about your own potential. You begin exploring strengths you ignored and talents you doubted. Growth stops feeling like pressure and starts feeling like expansion. As your point of view changes, you may notice resistance from yourself and from others. When you grow, not everyone understands. Some people prefer the old version of you because it was easier to control or predict. The right person helps you navigate this discomfort. They remind you that growth can feel lonely at times, but stagnation is far lonelier. They teach you that choosing yourself is not selfish, it is necessary. Over time, you realize that the right person helped you develop discernment. You no longer chase every connection or explanation. You become comfortable with walking away from what feels wrong, even if it once felt familiar. Your standards rise, not out of ego, but out of self-respect. You understand that peace is more valuable than approval, and alignment is more important than attachment. Eventually, you may look back at who you were before meeting the right person, and barely recognize that version of yourself. Not because that person was weak or wrong, but because they were unfinished. The right person didn't replace your identity, they revealed it. They helped you remember your strength, your intuition, and your worth. They reminded you that you are allowed to evolve beyond old narratives. And perhaps the greatest change of all is this: you stop waiting for someone to save you. The right person doesn't make you dependent. They make you aware. Aware that you are always capable of growth, healing, and clarity. They were not the source of change. And once ignited, that transformation continues long after they are gone. In the end, one right person can change your whole point of view because they shift your relationship with life itself. You stop seeing life as something to endure and start seeing it as something to experience. You begin meeting each moment with awareness instead of fear, intention instead of reaction, and hope instead of doubt. That is why the right person is not just someone you meet. They are someone who meets you at the right level of consciousness. And once that meeting happens, your vision expands, your heart softens, and your journey takes a new direction, one you never imagined, but deeply needed. As time passes, you begin to understand that the right person didn't just change how you think about life. They changed how you feel within life. Earlier, your days may have felt heavy, repetitive, or emotionally distant. You went through routines without presence, interactions without connection, and dreams without belief. But after meeting the right person, something subtle awakens. You start feeling more alive in ordinary moments. A simple conversation feels meaningful. Silence feels full instead of empty. Life begins to breathe again. The right person often becomes a mirror that reflects truths you avoided. Not in a harsh way, but in a gentle, honest one. Through them you notice patterns, how you react under stress, how you push people away when you feel vulnerable, how you doubt yourself, even when you're capable. They don't shame you for these patterns. Their awareness simply invites yours. And awareness is the first step toward real change. You begin responding instead of reacting, choosing growth instead of habit. One of the deepest shifts happens in how you define strength. Before, you may have believed strength meant endurance without emotion, silence without complaint, and independence without support. The right person shows you a new definition. They show you that strength can mean asking for help, setting boundaries, expressing feelings, and choosing rest. This new understanding softens your inner dialogue. You stop being at war with yourself and start treating yourself with compassion. The right person also changes how you experience loneliness. You may still be alone at times, but you no longer feel empty, because they taught you that solitude is not abandonment, it is space. Space to reflect, heal, and grow. You learn that being comfortable with yourself is a form of freedom. And once you experience that freedom, you stop seeking validation in places that cannot provide it. Another powerful transformation occurs in how you view endings. Earlier, endings may have felt like failures, proof that you were not enough or that something went wrong. But the right person helps you see endings as transitions. They show you that some people come into your life to teach you, not to stay forever. This realization brings peace. You stop clinging to what is over and start honoring what it gave you. Gratitude replaces regret. The right person also redefines faith for you. Faith in yourself, in others, or in something greater than both. Through their perspective, you learn that faith doesn't mean certainty. It means trust. Trust that even when things don't make sense, they are still shaping you. This trust calms anxiety and reduces the need to control everything. You become more present, more grounded, and more open to the unknown. As your point of view evolves, your communication changes. You speak more honestly, listen more deeply, and choose words with intention. You no longer speak just to be understood. You speak to understand. This shift improves every relationship in your life. Conflicts become conversations, differences become learning opportunities, and misunderstandings become bridges instead of walls. The right person also helps you reclaim joy. Not the loud, temporary kind, but the quiet, steady kind. The joy that comes from alignment, from living in a way that matches your values. You laugh more freely. You smile without forcing it. You rediscover interests, creativity, and curiosity. Life no longer feels like something you must constantly fix. It feels like something you can appreciate. Eventually, you realize that the right person changed your point of view so deeply that even your memories feel different. Painful memories lose their sharpness. Lessons become clearer. You stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What did this teach me?" This shift doesn't deny pain. It transforms it into wisdom. What's most beautiful is that the change they spark doesn't end with you. Your new perspective affects how you treat others. You become more patient, more empathetic, and more understanding. The healing you received begins to flow outward. In this way, the right person creates a chain reaction, one changed perspective leading to many more. And perhaps the greatest realization of all is this: the right person didn't arrive to complete you. They arrived to remind you that you were already whole. You just needed the right reflection to see it. So yes, one right person can change your whole point of view, not by altering the world, but by altering the way you meet it. And once that shift happens, nothing ever looks the same again.